Let me show you a small example on how farms are contributing to the nitrogen runoff in the Chesapeake Bay. So in many of my earlier posts on the health of the bay, you've heard me talk about nitrogen loads in the bay, how it's causing pollution. Just to briefly explain that, all nitrogen is doing is clouding up the water and causing algae to grow. When the algae grows, it blocks out sunlight for special grasses like eelgrass or wild celery to grow. And these are grasses that are vital to the production of both clean and healthy water and for the vitality of living animals like clams, crabs, and mussels. So you know I'm not a farm hater. I'll explain it using my own crop. Now, this is my crop of corn in my backyard. It's about 120 square feet, so a real small operation going on here. But corn and soybeans is one of the biggest users of nitrogen, with corn needing about 96 pounds per acre and soybeans needing about 210 pounds per acre. Farmer will tell you that the best and cheapest way to get that nitrogen for your corn or soybean is chicken manure. Actually slowly transferring over to rabbit manure instead, because it's actually twice as nutritious as chicken manure. So even this little crop of corn here is going to need about 2 to 3 pounds of manure. Maryland has just under 1 million acres of corn and soybean land put to good use, and because it has about an average of 151 pounds of manure needed per acre between the two crops, it needs about 151 million pounds of manure per growing season. Luckily for those corn and soybean farmers, the Maryland poultry industry is huge, representing over 60% of the agricultural revenue in the state and producing about 650 million pounds of manure per year, which, if you do math real quick, you'll see that greatly eclipsed the needed 151 million pounds. So as you can see, Maryland has a pretty large surplus of manure every year. Now let's bring you back to the homestead here. My one chicken that I use to help manure my crop is on her own going to produce 130 pounds of manure this year alone. Again, I only need about 2 to 3. So even I on this little plot am going to have an excess of manure. Now what do you think happens to that manure? Well, it's going to be stored and it's going to sit and it's going to get rained on. And as it gets rained on, it's going to slowly find its way down slopes into our tributary systems. Around this state, if you haven't noticed yet, all tributary systems lead to the Chesapeake Bay.